Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this is Creating an Inspired Life. I'm so happy to be here with you today. I have a very special show planned for you, and I know some of you have been planning to watch this. You've already told me you're very excited to watch and listen to our show tonight. I'm a psychic medium as well as a certified spiritual life coach. And my passion, my purpose in life, and that includes on this radio show, this video show as well, is to help you create your best, your most unique, awesome, inspired life. And what we're going to do today, I have a special guest here today, and we're going to talk about Lilydale Assembly. And Lilydale is a beautiful village in the western part of New York State, right on the shores of Cassadaga Lake. It's the largest spiritualist community center in the world. And the purpose of this center, Lilydale Assembly, is to further the understanding of the science, the philosophy, and the religion of spiritualism. Lilydale is dedicated to God, spirit, and mankind, and everything that happens there is a reflection of that. And as a community, people live in Lilydale. There's a post office, there's stores, there's hotels, restaurants, there's a beach, there's a library, there's a museum, there's everything you could possibly imagine there. But this is a little bit different as a community because we also have mediums and spiritual healers and all sorts of people there who support spiritualism. And I know you're going to want to go and check out their website, which is lilydaleassembly.com. So we won't be able to cover everything tonight because we do have limited time. So you can go there and check it out to your heart's content. So today, who I have with me is Lynn Forget, who is the president of Lilydale Assembly. And Lynn started out as a spiritualist a long time ago when she went to her first spiritualist church in Ontario, Canada in 1987. And she was absolutely fascinated by the mediumship. So she started studying mediumship and she became a practicing medium. And what's really very interesting is she's been a member of Lilydale Assembly for 28 years, has been a registered medium at Lilydale Assembly, and we will talk about what that means in a little bit. She's been a registered medium there for 15 years. She's been on the Lilydale Board of Directors for 9 years, and this year she's the president. So Lynn, thank you so much for coming to my show today, and we are so excited to have this opportunity to have you share with the world how wonderful Lilydale is. So can you tell us a little bit about what it means to be a spiritualist, or the religion of spiritualism, what that means?
Sure. Thank you. And it really is a pleasure to be here with you, Colleen. And as you know, here in Lilydale, in the wintertime, we get a lot of snow and it gets pretty cold. So we never see each other. So it's kind of nice that spring has come and, you and I get a chance to talk and to speak with your listeners. And Lilydale was sort of founded as a spiritualist community back in 1879 is when it was first established. And it had its early beginnings in Leona in 1844, actually, way back then when the free thinkers got together and started talking about mesmerism and healing and had their first experience with spirit contact. So later on in the late 1800s, they came to Lilydale and they would come for picnics and to talk about all the things that were going on at that time, all the news that was coming over from Europe and about spiritism and spirit contact and healing and all of that. And it was finally in 1879 that they established the community of Lilydale with 20 acres of land that they bought there. So spiritualism, I guess it's got a legal definition, as you said at the beginning. It's a science, the religion, and philosophy. And spiritualism is a recognized religion in the United States. It was established in 1893. So we could sort of look at the official designation of what spiritualism is. But I understand spiritualism as that experience of being aware of what we know is beyond who we are. Okay, we all know that there's something more, that this isn't all there is. So I see spiritualism and spiritualists as people who are seeking the truth. What is the truth about life? What is God? What is spirit? And to experience all of that as a medium, as you know yourself, as a practicing medium, to establish contact with the spirit world for someone who is in need for whatever reason is a really unique and wonderful experience. So
Wow.
spiritualists are dedicated to searching for truth and also for providing evidence that the consciousness of an individual, the soul of an individual, continues on after their physical body dies, and that we can establish communication with those people through mediumship and the demonstration of mediumship.
Yes, and that was really well said, just the way you said that, because
Great.
it really explains it. And one thing I really like about spiritualism is that there's not rules. There aren't rules. We can think on our own. And, you had used the phrase at one point when I talked to you the other day about free thinkers.
Yes.
And that's very important.
It really is. When I came to Lilydale for the first time, I could have swore that on the sign outside the gate, it said established by free thinkers. And so when I moved here, I went to the office and I said, I'm sure I saw that sign that said founded by free thinkers, and no one could find it. So all I can think of is that somebody must have said that to me the first time I ever came, because I remember thinking that's the place for me. And, it's never let me down.
And to be able to think on your own. And because we all believe different things, we all have different belief systems in Lilydale, and we all have different religious backgrounds as well. And so it's nice that we can all be together and
it is.
Live.
Yes, because, we do have our principles that we usually, the fatherhood of God, and we believe in angels and spirits and communication. So that unites us.
Yes. And it's such a wonderful place. I can't emphasize that enough when I talk about it.
Terrific.
And talking about the community of it, people always ask me, is everybody who lives here, are they all mediums? And I go, no, they aren't. So can you tell people a little bit about who does live there?
Sure. Well, everyone that lives in Lilydale or has a property in Lilydale would be a spiritualist. So the first thing that someone would do if they wanted to join the community of Lilydale would be to be a member of a recognized spiritualist church for a year. And then they would submit an application form to the Lilydale Assembly Board of Directors. And then they would come in for an interview, and we would ask them questions about, who they are and what they might want to tell us that we didn't find out about them on the application. And then we allow them to ask questions about us. What do they want to know about us, and what they might like to do in Lilydale. After that, they have the right to vote at our elections in every August. So it's a very prestigious thing and an important thing to become a resident or a member of Lilydale Assembly.
Oh, yes.
I hope that answers your question.
It does, because people want to know. And I try to emphasize to people that it's a community, that it's a relationship. It's like any other village you might live in, except that the foundational belief system is a little bit more uniform than a regular village.
Absolutely. And we work very hard in Lilydale. I think everybody is very interested in the summer program. We have committees all over the place. And it's a very active community in Lilydale.
It very much is. And in Lilydale, so many people come there to visit with the mediums. And can you explain for the people who may not know, and I would assume most people do who are listening, but there may be a few, what a medium does and how does it work?
Okay. Well, I can only speak for myself, but I think we generally operate the same way. So when someone comes into my home for a reading, the first thing I'll ask them is, have you ever had a reading before? Because it might be their first time and they can be a little nervous and a little bit anxious. And so I want to reassure them and make them as comfortable as possible. And then I always say a prayer at the beginning of the reading. I always ask God's blessing on the reading. And I ask that the spirit people come and answer any questions that the sitter that sits in front of me might have, and that we're always safe and secure in God's love and guidance. And usually by the end of the prayer, people are starting to breathe again. I really don't look too scary, I don't think. So, and then after the prayer, or while I'm saying my prayer, I ask the people if they will just hold it in their mind why they came for the reading, what's important for them to know, what would they like to know about. And then at the end of the prayer, I just say, take a deep breath and just relax. And at that point, my connection shifts from the person in front of me to the world of spirit. because it's spirit that makes the connection. And from there, whatever I see in my mind's eye, whatever I hear with my clairaudience, or whatever I might smell or taste or any sensations, sometimes I'll see a person very clearly, and I'll start describing that person to my sitter. So it's a very intuitive type of experience, but it's also very calming and very relaxing.
Yes. And people, so many times they just want to be reassured. They want to know their people are still alive. And that's such a good, peaceful, healing time for them.
It is
and
healing.
People come from all over the world, and they have so many reasons for coming. And many of them do come for those purposes of wanting to connect with our loved ones who have passed. And it's so wonderful. Now, this summer, I do want to say that Lilydale is open all year long. There are mediums there all year, but we're coming up on the summer season. The summer season for us is very special, and all sorts of things happen in the summer. And in addition to the mediums, there's workshops, there's special events, there's informative lectures, there's healing services, there's weekly and daily scheduled events. And all of these things that happen at Lilydale are here to help you, our audience, live their best lives. It's the most awesome thing ever. And every day in the summer, we have a meditation service, 2 healing services, 3 outdoor mediumship demonstrations, a church service with a lecturer and a medium. And so I'm wanting Lynn to tell us about some of these daily events. So I'm going to ask her now. The healing service. What happens in a healing service?
The healing service is, it's actually a very emotional experience for a lot of people. Barbara Sanson has been the hostess at the Healing Temple for, I don't know how many years now, at least 12 that I know of. And she has a wonderful group of healers who volunteer their time, along with herself, to have these healing services twice a day at 10:30 in the morning, and again at 6 o'clock at night. Or 6:30 at night, I think it is, after the stump. And so a person would go to the Healing Temple, and they would be shown a seat inside. And at the front of the Healing Temple would be the healers, and they're usually dressed with a white coat and black pants. And Barbara will give a little introduction, and then people are invited to go and take a chair up at the Healing Temple at the front and on the stools. Often there is live music that is played on the organ or on a keyboard. Often there's always music of some sort that's going on there. And the healers will put their hands on the shoulder of the person, maybe lightly on the head, and they will intuitively link with the person that's in the chair and with spirit to see what the need of that person might be. It could be healing of the body, could be healing of the mind, could be a healing of the spirit, and so they sit together, or the healer works with that person for maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes. And usually they will say a little prayer at the end of the healing, so that the person sitting there will know that the healing portion has finished. And then they'll go back to their seats, and someone else will come forward. So many times we see people with tears rolling down their face, and they really don't even know why. But it's such a personal. I don't know. It's beautiful. You have to experience it to really, really know what's going on. But when people go for the first time, they're a little leery. They're not too sure what to expect. But it's a very gentle, beautiful experience.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I started out as a healer at Lilydale about 17 years ago, and it was amazing, all the people who are in need of healing, to have them come and be able to help them. Just for those few minutes, it can have a very profound healing in just a few minutes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the other place that they have profound healings is at our outdoor mediumship services, our outdoor demonstrations of mediumship. And can you tell the people about that?
Inspiration Stump. I don't know, it's kind of an amazing place. It's out there in the woods. We have a beautiful canopy of trees above. You look up and you see the trees and you can see the sun sort of shining through the leaves. On a hot day, people are fanning themselves, and I love going up to the stump before the service begins, and the audience is all chitty-chatty, and they're talking and they're laughing, and they're full of anticipation. And then the chairperson will go up and introduce themselves and talk a little bit to the audience about the history of Inspiration Stump, and talk about the various mediums that will be doing demonstrations there. We have healing, we have student mediums, we have registered mediums, of course, and then we have visiting mediums, and sometimes we even have visiting mediums from Lilydale, which means that they are mediums in Lilydale, but they're not registered. And so the chairperson will call each medium up, and they will spend 3 to 5 minutes or so and pick individuals from the audience to give them a short message from the spirit world. And it's one of the it's done twice a day at Inspiration Stump, and it's just a beautiful service. I really, really enjoy it. It's got magnificent energy there. People say. So the stump is a tree that was cut down years and years and years ago, and at one time the student mediums would go and stand on the stump before there was benches out there to give messages to their fellow students. So now we're a little bit more formal, but it's certainly a very sacred time for us here in Lilydale in the summer.
Oh, yes. I love working at the stump. It's so much fun just to see all the people. And sometimes we'll have hundreds of people there for a service.
I know, they're standing in rows at the back.
A lot of people come. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy. And you had mentioned, and I'd mentioned it before too, about the registered mediums. And what does that mean to be a registered medium?
Well, in Lilydale, you must be a registered medium in order to do private readings on the grounds. It's quite a process, Colleen. You've been through it, and you know it's quite a process. It's quite a process. So someone who is a medium would declare their intention to the Lilydale Assembly Board of Directors that they would like to be evaluated and tested to become a registered medium. So the first thing they have to do, of course, is be a member of the Assembly. And they have had to be a member of the Assembly for at least a year before they can apply to become a registered medium. And prior to even submitting the application, they have to do a certain number of outdoor services at Inspiration Stump or at the Forest Temple. And they must also serve at Monday night circles, which we haven't touched on yet, but I assume that will come up in a little bit. So once they've done that, then they submit their application with a list of the outdoor services that they've done in previous years. And then they have another year of having to serve at Inspiration Stump and Monday night circles. And then at the end of the summer season, there's a formal demonstration weekend, we call it, where they have to do 3 private readings for members of the Assembly that are the names are drawn at random, and then they would have to do 3 readings before the board of the Lilydale Assembly and the board of the Mediums League. And it was a long time ago that I did this, but it's pretty intimidating, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the first year I was registered, I was so amazed by the courage of people who come for readings. They come to us, they've got their heart in their hand. And so the integrity and the strong ethics of a registered medium are of utmost importance.
That is so
we're very,
true.
very careful of the people that we select to be registered mediums.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility.
It is absolutely.
It's a very big responsibility. And it's important that we do it correctly and ethically and with kindness and love and all of those things.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I do want to make sure we have time to get to some of our special events that are going to happen this summer. But I do want to mention, too, that for people who want to get a reading, that if they walk around Lilydale, oh my goodness, if they walk around Lilydale, they will see signs of mediums and they can sign up at their door or give them a call and things like that. So let's right now, actually, I want to ask you, we have the summer season is coming up. It's the 138th summer season. We have all sorts of things happening. It's very special, and you'll have to check the website out to get them all because we're just going to mention them very fast, lilydaleassembly.com. So Lynn, what workshops, what special events that you want to get out in the next very few minutes that we have left?
I'd be so afraid I'm going to leave somebody important out, but I have to talk about Children's Week. That's a really wonderful event where families can come and bring their children, and the children actually get an opportunity to work as healers in the healing temple. Some of them work on some small mediumship things that are suitable for young children. They have outdoor events, they have campfires, they have all kinds of things that are dedicated just to the children and also to teens. We also have a ukulele jamboree coming up this year. I'm pretty excited about that. We used to have a little group of us that played the ukulele there for a while, and now we're going to have a whole day and invite people to come to workshops. And in the evening, we're all going to jam together. Everybody will bring their ukulele. We'll have the music up on the big screen, and everyone will play and sing together, and it's going to be really very, very cool. The pet remembrance ceremony. You know, people lose pets, not just our human loved ones, but our pet loved ones. And honoring our pets is something that Joanne Nigro's done several years. So that's an event that many people love to come to, and check out our pet cemetery as well, where the horses that used to work the land in Lilydale are buried. It's a very remarkable place in itself. Tom Kratzley does a wonderful healing course every year, and once they've done a healing course like that, they may be able to work as a healer in the healing temple, if they speak to Barbara Sanson about that. So Children's Week, the Science of Things Spiritual, is also an event that we're having for the first time. And photographer Shannon Taggart knows people from all over the world, and she put together this wonderful group of speakers speaking about various aspects of the spiritual things. And one that's interesting is a gentleman who talks about the landscape of Lilydale and the way the houses are put together that is so different than anywhere else, and why people feel so moved when they come into our village.
Right.
So lots of I don't know. What else would you like to know about?
Well,
because I could go on.
Well, and we're actually running out of time. So which makes me wonder if we should have you back on.
I'd be willing.
Some more.
Certainly, if you'd like to.
Yes, because we could talk about some of the other things that are happening, because there's so many famous mediums coming. James Van Praagh is coming. John Holland is coming. John Waite is there. Lisa Williams. We have all sorts of people coming.
Sharon Klingler and
and there's
Sandra Taylor.
So much to do, and there's just so much to do there.
There's yoga to do. There's
it's craziness.
It is. Yeah.
So in the last minute here, I'm just going to wrap up a little bit, but for everybody listening, Lilydale can be a vacation destination. You can bring your kids and go to the Children's Week. You can come be inspired, empowered. You can experience all sorts of things. You can stay at one of the hotels and see if your room is haunted. See if it lights go on and off for you. They are. My daughter experienced it when she was cleaning it one time. Yeah. The fees are very reasonable. So this is someplace that you might want to come to. But I think we'll have Lynn come back again if she's willing, so we can talk about this even more, because there's so much to talk about. So the website for Lilydale is lilydaleassembly.com, and you want to go there. And this was Lynn Forget, the president of Lilydale Assembly. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this was Creating an Inspired Life. And you can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com. And Lynn, thank you so much for coming. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's always great to talk about Lilydale.
It really is.